What's happening, everybody? Zach Molesky here, front and center with David Lujan, one of my close friends. This is the man behind the lens, and he's always making everybody look so great, so many different aspects, and I finally get the chance to bring him on here to Apps and Asphalt. So I think this is our 34th episode. 34th episode. So he's been somebody that I've always wanted to kind of have some time to just dice through and depict his story. I think it will resonate with a lot of different people, but it's really just an underdog story that is incredible. He's one of the best people I know, has a huge heart, and I'm just excited to hear about it, man.
I'm excited, and it's my first interview in English, so let's do it.
He's pretty good in English. So awesome, man. So I've had the pleasure of meeting your family before, your mom, your dad, and I've heard a little bit about your upbringing and stuff, but where are you from, and what was your childhood like? What was your mom and dad like, and what they do for a living?
Thanks. Well, it's interesting childhood. I am from Mexico City. All my life until I was 23, I came here to the US. So all my life I was living in Mexico. I never traveled to another country in my life until I started to planning on coming here to the US. And my childhood is really interesting because my mom, my parents, my dad, he's a priest or a preacher.
He's a priest.
Priest.
Yep. Maybe a preacher?
Pastor in Spanish.
Pastor, yeah. So he's okay. So pastor.
So
yep.
he leads this Christian church, evangelical, and so all my life I was in that culture. Going to the church, going to camps. When I was teenager, I leaded up the teenager group. Those kind of stuff. I always learn about the Bible and everything. All my my mindset was built up by that. And when I was on elementary school, I think on fourth grade, maybe 9 years, my mom got on her hands this book or this magazine about homeschool. In Mexico, before COVID, before everything, it was not popular to do homeschool to your kids.
Yeah.
So she got this magazine and she read it. She decided to homeschool us, my sister and I.
Wow.
Since we were super little. And it was pretty fun because she told us, okay, we are going to manage this as every Monday. We are going to go every Monday to a museum to learn and play in the museum. And every Thursday, we are going to go to Six Flags She got us our annual pass, and she to solve this kind of how we manage the relationship with other kids, because she was going to take us out from school, so we were going to be not exposed to those situations.
Sure.
She decided to do that, and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday we studied at home.
Wow.
It gave us a really interesting perspective now. Me as an adult seeing that, she always was criticized by that decision, by family members, by church friends, stuff like that, because they were like, okay, how do you know if your kids are going to be able to grow and be ready for the adulthood, So, but she was decided to do that, and she close her ears to those criticism, and she decided to keep doing that with us. We studied on homeschool all the elementary, almost high school, and then on high school we went to the normal system.
Yeah.
And then the college, I also went to the school, so that's kind of my background on the childhood.
Wow, that's so cool. So brothers, sisters?
Just me and my sister.
You and your sister. Awesome. And how much older or younger is your sister?
She's 3 years younger than me.
Okay.
I am 30 right now, so she's 26, 27.
Okay, gotcha. I have the same spread with my sister as well, too. Yeah, do you think, in hindsight, now that you have to think about it, do you think it changed you for the better or the worse doing homeschool? Did you enjoy it? Like, do you wish you could have changed any aspects of it, or now?
It definitely helped me and build up this mindset on being able to kind of imagine right now if I want to do a website, I know how to make a research on the website and learn from not myself but learn on that initiative. I do my research and I figure it out how to make a website.
Yeah.
And that's something that it built up whenever when we were kids.
Wow.
You know.
Yep.
Because she taught us how to make a research, how to
Be self-taught through
Self-taught,
situations, through things, which is incredible. I mean, you're one of the smartest people that I know in terms of just being in touch with who you are, very in control of your emotions, and very stable in a lot of ways. So that's really cool. That's really, really cool.
and also the kind of the religion also taught me that emotional like intelligence,
Stability, yeah.
stability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. That's cool. So, fast forward a little bit further down the road. What were you like through, you said you started going into high school, and what was that like for you, for somebody who hadn't been to public school before, and then you go to college? You went to college in Mexico, right? So, talk to me about like those years. What were those like for you?
It was fun because I was again on the school system, the regular school system, and to learn how to be disciplined to the homework, for example, or for stuff like that. Because my mom paid attention on exposing us to be with other kids on those different activities, like
Yeah.
the church ones, in Six Flags, and all that stuff. I was not uncomfortable to be with other teenagers.
Yeah.
But it definitely helped me out. But it also helped a lot that when I went to college, my dad told me, "Okay, I'm gonna pay the half of your college, and you need to work and pay your other half."
Wow.
So when I was 18, just 18, I remember I was at my place playing video games, and my mom told me, "Hey, you need to go out and look for a job." And I was like, "But why? I have everything."
Why do I got to do that?
Yeah. And she told me, "No, you need to figure it out. Go to work to somewhere else." And I just went to. Do you remember the Blockbuster stores
Oh, yeah.
for the movies and that stuff?
Oh, yeah.
So I went to a Blockbuster store to ask for a job, and the first month I was really happy because it was really fun for me to talk about movies, experiencing with the clients directly. It was fun. The second month I stopped and I say, okay, my manager, I was making like $150 a month, and my
A month.
manager.
$150 a month. Wow.
And my manager was making like 350. And he was in Blockbuster for like 7 years. So I was like, I don't want to spend 7 years of my life to make 350.
Yeah.
Like this.
So you learned at an early age. You were like, oh man, this might not be the best choice. Like this might be a longer road than.
It didn't make sense to me. Like, and he was always stressed. He was closing the store late, so I was like, that's not life that I want to do. So that was in the second month, and in the third month I quit to that job.
Like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Learn my lesson.
But I had to pay my school the half because my dad was paying the other half. So what I did is there was this movie on that year named The Social Network. It's the story about Facebook. Have you seen it?
Yeah, with Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah.
So I went to the movies with my dad, with my family, and after the movie, I told my dad, "Hey, in your job, who manages your Facebook?" He works in the Mexico Bible Society of Mexico.
Okay.
That's the company. There's a company like that on every country that manages produces and traduce the all the Bibles that are distributed on all the country.
Wow.
So he worked there, and I asked him, "Hey, at your job, who is managing your Facebook fan page?" And he told me, "No, there's nothing we are doing with Facebook." So I told him, "Hey, why should I run it? Yeah, go for it and ask the main director present the project and ask him for the kind of the job." So I kind of created that job at that age, and I started to help them with that. I remember in Blockbuster I was doing 150, and I asked my mom, "How much should I charge for it?" And she told me, "Just ask for a little more that you made on Blockbuster." So I asked for 200 a month, and they gave it to me, and they gave me green light on the project, and I started to do their Facebook fan page, and then that was when I find out that if I sell my services, I can make more money. So I went to the coffee shop next to my house and tell them the same. "Hey, who's running your Facebook fan page?" "No, we don't have anyone." "Oh, I can run it for you." So I made another 200, and it was 400. So I was like, "Oh my God, this is cool. You can sell and make twice the money." So that's what I started at that age when I was 18, and that's still what I'm doing right now.
Man, I love it.
It's pretty fun, that story, I guess.
That is a cool story. How old were you when you got your first client, I
I
guess?
was 18, just 18.
You were 18. Wow. Well, were you nervous going up and asking for opportunity like that, or did you feel like you had to?
Because my mom and always exposed us when we were in homeschool. I remember she used to take us to museums, and on the museum she used to ask us, "Okay, go with the security guard and ask for this story about the museum." And I was like, "No, he's big. No, you have to do it." So she exposed us to those kind of
Interactions.
interactions and hard for a kid.
Yep. That is huge. I mean, that is so critical for parents to do. I feel like, especially at this day and age where everything is so digital, and you don't have to. You can stand behind a camera. You don't have to ask for opportunity. But that's one of the things that I've always admired about you is like you're not afraid. You're not afraid to ask. You're not afraid to hear no. You're not afraid for the tough conversations, and it all ultimately leads to a lot of opportunity.
And you need to be confident, and that's something that my mom built up on me and my sister. It's good to get a no. It's good to get a yes. So it doesn't matter. You just need to expose yourself to that situation when you're gonna receive an answer with you, maybe from a more older people or more success people.
Yep.
You don't need to be afraid, and you need to exposure to those situations. On sales, that's the game.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
If
It's
you-
a number game. Yeah.
Yeah, if you are afraid to expose yourself, and that's the thing with the sales, is being afraid of getting a no. But as soon as you get the no, you go for the next one, and you go for the next one until you get the yes.
What can they do? What's the worst thing they could do to you? They could tell you no.
Exactly.
You know, and that's the worst thing that can happen. And so many people are afraid to hear that. You know,
Definitely.
why do you think people are afraid to hear no?
Because I mean, it's something attached to like the confidence that you build up.
Emotional. Yeah.
Because they are not saying no to you. They are saying no to the service that you are providing. But if you are not able to detach those two things, they are not saying no to you. They don't hate you.
Oh, that's
They don't want the bad for you. They are not. They are saying no just to your service.
yes.
You can provide another service, and maybe they are gonna say yes.
That's a great point. That's a really good point. So David's 18. He's starting to pick up some clients. When did you realize that you wanted to come to America, and what did that look like? How does that story shape up for you?
When I was like, one of my biggest fears on that age was I used to have a girlfriend on that time, and I remember thinking on, imagine that she got pregnant. And one day we had the baby, and the baby is less than 1 year old, and I don't have enough money to provide the medicines because the baby is on fever that night.
Yep.
I'm gonna need to call my parents, say, do you have money? Blah blah blah. That was the biggest fear that I used to have at that time. So I was, no, I don't want this for my future family, my future kids. Started to analyze the situation in Mexico, the violence, the criminal stuff
Was there a lot of criminal violence
There is.
in Mexico City?
in Mexico City, in all the country.
Yeah, it is. There is. There's a ton.
So I was like, no, there must be something else, like, and I have never traveled to another country at that age. So I got this new client that they are the well, there's two stories. There's two cool stories about this because I got this client. I really like soccer, so I offered my services on social media to some soccer fields because they manage tournaments and whatever. And I decided to offer my services, and they hired me. And one day, I used to create videos just for their Facebook. But one day, the owner of those fields came to me and he said, "Hey, we bought this TV air time for a show for our tournaments, but it's a 1 hour show that we need to give them. Can you do that?" And I was like, "Yes, I guess." And I run a TV show for the real TV, a 1 hour show with iPhones, just produced with iPhones because I didn't have cameras or.
So you filmed it from your iPhone.
Filmed it
You
on-
edit it with your iPhone.
And
Everything.
Everything. It took me a lot of hours to do that.
Wow.
But and we run that show for it was like a news, like a Sports Center show
Yeah.
for the amateur fields.
Wow.
So we run that show for I guess 5 episodes every
Yeah.
week. And one of those episodes, the TV producer of a big station, TV station in Mexico, saw the show. He was not interested on who did that show because the show was bad because it was produced with iPhones. But he was interested he was running the Mexican national team of freestyle soccer. It's a sport, like
Okay.
underground sport,
Yeah.
of they making tricks with the ball.
Okay.
And they sent the national team to all over the world to the tournaments.
Yeah.
Mexico is really good at it. So he wanted to take his team to this league. So he contacted us, and when he figured that me and my business partner were two kids running this show, he told us, "I want to see what you can do with real cameras. Because if you were able to do this with just iPhones, I think if I give you real cameras, you're gonna make good stuff, So he saw the potential on me and my business partner. He took us to his company, to his TV station, and he started. That's when I got my visa to travel to the U.S. because he sent me to film a tournament on San Jose, California.
Okay.
I got my visa. I traveled to San Jose. That year, I traveled to San Jose, to Calgary, Canada, to Costa Rica, to Morocco, and like 3 times to the U.S.
Wow.
on 1 year filming. those
After not traveling ever.
after not traveling ever. So that year put me in a position of like, okay, there's more than Mexico.
Wow.
There's different environments. The travel to Morocco changed my life because I was like, okay, they don't believe on nothing that it's my dreams. Like, they don't believe in Jesus. They don't believe in my main goal is to be like a reporter on the TV station. They don't care about that TV station that I'm gonna be.
They don't care about nothing.
Nothing about this side of the world. So I was like, okay, there's something else in the world. So that's when I decided to look for an opportunity. And there was a friend that I had here from Denver that he used to go to Mexico City to watch the games of my team. The name is Cruz Azul, my team in
Okay.
Mexico.
Yep.
So he used to go every weekend just to watch the game to the stadium. And I met him randomly on the stadium and we keep in touch. And then he saw that I was running videos and doing that stuff. And he told me, hey, can you come to Denver to teach my radio station team on how to do videos? So I came here to Denver for 2 weeks and I teach them. I bought their cameras. And when I was going to travel to Mexico, I asked him, hey, your team already knows the basics, but it's not super easy. So just think on maybe me coming to Denver to live and to run your TV station.
Sure.
He told me, yeah, let me think about it, blah, blah, blah. I went back to Mexico and I was like anxious to come here to Denver. And he wasn't calling me about the opportunity like a month and a half. So I was, no, I need to do something. And I was like, I can sell everything that I sell here in Mexico with my iPhones, like social media, maybe wedding videos. I can't do that in the US. It's the same shit, you know? So I was like, fuck it, let's go. And I asked to a friend for my, I think it was like $350 for my tickets. And I just had saved $80. So I came to the US with $80, literally, that first day.
In your clothes?
Yeah.
Your clothes and $80.
Yeah. And I arrived to the US, and that night I stayed at a friend's house of one of the people that I teach to do videos of the radio station. I stayed at his home, and that's how the journey started.
Holy shit, dude. Yeah, it's crazy. That takes some cojones, some big huevos to be able to just send it full send like that. That's crazy, man. Okay, so you come into the United States, you get over here, you're hoping for opportunity. Mm-hmm. You've got $80 to your name. It's probably going away.
No, and bro, when I arrived to the airport, I was super hungry. So I went to a coffee shop.
That goes like half your money. You can't even get a coffee for like...
the fucking sneakers in like $13. So I was my $80 less $30.
Oh my gosh.
So it was crazy.
So, okay, so you're staying... How long you stay with that friend for?
Maybe with her, I stayed like 3 days, and then I moved to another of those friends for maybe 2 months.
Okay.
And then I started to rent it. What I did at the very first was I used to go to a restaurant, ask for the cheapest plate, and I asked the waitress, hey, who's the manager here or the owner? Can you bring it to me? Oh, yeah. So the owner came here. Hey, your food is awesome. I do videos. I do blah, blah, blah. Do you want me to do one free video for you? Oh, yeah, come on Tuesday. So I started to build those relationships with that strategy, literally.
And you did them for free. Someone who doesn't have money, you came in and you did stuff for free to show...
Just one video for free, like a 30-second video.
Because you wanted them to see how good your work was, right?
And I want to build up a relationship from zero.
Okay.
So that's how it started. That was my strategy. And that very first restaurant that I went is one in Lakewood. I built up a really good relationship with the owner. And that was something really important because then, like 3 months after that, what's the name of suegro? The dad of his wife.
The father-in-law.
His father-in-law is a millionaire that has a company that the name is Nopalina. It's a fiber mix, really targeted to the Latin people. And Nopalina, it's in all Walmart, Walgreens, everywhere. So he made his fortune on that. And he told me, hey, I really like your videos on my restaurant, but you need to be doing videos for my father-in-law's company.
Wow.
Because that's going to take you to a next level and take us to a next level. So I traveled, after 3 months here in Denver, I traveled to Chicago. And I started to live in Chicago because Nopalina is over there.
Okay.
So I started to produce all their TV commercials on all around the country. Their commercials are in Univision, Telemundo, all that stuff. So I started to create the videos for them in
Wow.
Chicago. And I started to, I asked to a friend in Mexico to start recruiting like editors, web developers, to create like my own agency because the game was going to be okay, I'm going to sell stuff here, but I'm going to produce it in Mexico. And that's where it started to go.
Wow, man. That is crazy. So, you guys think about how well we've got it here in America where there's jobs, there's opportunity almost on every single corner unless unless you're not from here. And then you have to create your own job, your own opportunity, knocking on doors, but you put yourself in the right position. You end up taking this job, and then the little gig turns into a huge gig for Nopolina. How did you start? How did you start feeling? Like, what'd that do for your confidence?
It was really cool because, well, even little stuff like the office, my office that they gave me was in downtown with the view of the river. Like, it was a dream for me. Like, imagine me arriving with $80. Was feeling like the Wolf of Wall Street when he arrives to Wall Street. That was my mind every day.
I love that.
Because I used to travel in the train to downtown every day.
Oh
I
man.
was super excited. I wasn't making a lot of money from Nopalina, but with Nopalina and my other little clients, I started to hire people in Mexico to start to run the business. All my employees were even in my parents' house,
Wow.
like because we didn't had a lot of money to rent an office or whatever. They were willing to help me with like the studio in my house. We set it up everything with desks and everything, and I was short in money right at that time because I was using my money to pay my employees, you know,
Yeah.
and I wasn't. Um, I didn't have the experience on how much to charge at
Gotcha.
that time.
Sure.
So I wasn't charging
Enough.
enough and fair to these little clients because I wasn't good with the numbers in the US. So
Sure.
I was learning. And it was like, on one hand, it was really exciting because I was making my dream, you know. But then I wasn't able to make a lot of money. So it was tough, you know, tough
Yeah.
times, and it was really fun. Do you want to stop and play? Yeah. Okay.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah. So, so I started to make my agency, and that was the experience at that time.
Wow. Wow, that's so cool. So what takes you to the next big pillar of like your career? What starts changing? I mean, obviously I know where you're at now, all the different things that you have going on and all the different opportunity, but like talk to me about how you get transformed into the person that you are now from that stage in life.
There was a big challenge at that time because my mindset was, okay, I'm gonna set up this agency, but I need the agency to work by itself, to me not running everything and trying to delegate the stuff. So all the producing stuff, it was delegated to Mexico, but the sales wasn't delegated. I was responsible.
You were the salesman.
I was a salesman. So I started to think how to maneuver that. And I find out this client, and he runs this company of like IT. So he had a lot of clients on IT, and he asked us. First, we started to do videos for him and his website, but then he asked us, "Hey, I have a lot of companies that I already set it up, all their like when you pay your in restaurants." His company was the one that set up everything to pay with card and everything on the
Yeah.
business. So he told me, hey, I have a lot of restaurants that wants social media, wants websites. So I saw a really good opportunity there to him bringing us all those clients.
Wow.
And I could be able to delegate the sales to him.
Yeah.
So I asked him to partner with us. It was my friend in Mexico,
Okay.
managing stuff, another friend, and in Mexico also me and his.
Okay.
He was added to the company.
Wow.
The problem was two things. One is that my business partner in Mexico, he's super religious. He's super like Christian, blah blah blah. Really focus on that. So, and I wasn't at that time. I decided to not to live a crazy life, but I decided to not to be completely on the religion. So those kind of stuff wasn't my business partner like wanting to be. It was a lot. There was a lot of friction,
Sure.
but for stupid stuff, because for example I was telling him, hey, I'm gonna date this girl, and he was in the mindset on, okay, you don't need to date girls until you are going to get married, stuff like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
super traditional. So,
Very traditional, and you're more of like, well, a little more free spirit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was something that was causing friction. And this new business partner here in the US, he's a Dominican. He was Christian also.
Okay.
So he and my Mexico business partner started to relate a lot on that side of the religion. And it made that and all the tension that was about having money to pay everything. It was super a tense relationship at that time.
Yeah.
So there was a time that they decided to go by themselves, to separate our paths. Like
So did you guys all separate, or did they go their way and then you went your way?
yeah, they there was one meeting, a lot of tension, and he told me, the Mexican business partner told me, hey, I don't want to work with you guys anymore. I'm gonna run away from this company
Wow.
that we were creating.
Foreman, yeah.
And the other one said, no, well, I don't want to be here also. And the other one said the same. So it wasn't that were running away from it. They were taking me away,
They were taken. Yep.
So they pulled me away. It was really like a big crisis to me at that time, because that was my dream, like
Yeah.
I put everything together. Even my employees were at my parents' house working. I used to did a lot of sacrifices to run that business.
Yep.
So I feel super like betrayed from them. And that was the only time that I experienced like a depression on that time. Because like I told you, it was my dream, my little baby.
Yeah.
And then they took it away from me. So it was super hard for me at that time. I remember one time thinking, why am I doing this? Even why am I leaving? When I heard that on my mind, I was, no, I need to do something else because this is not normal. This is not good.
Yeah.
And I decided to go back to Mexico just to refill my soul.
Yeah. Okay.
So I went back to Mexico for 4 months with friends, hanging out with girls, whatever, to fulfill my soul again.
Yeah.
And I came back to the US after 4 months.
Okay.
It was 2016, the year that Trump won the elections.
It's 2016-ish. Yeah.
So I came back to the US and I started to do my own thing as a freelancer.
Okay.
So as I kind of got traumatized on
Having
building a
teams.
company,
Yeah.
having teams, having business partners. So I decided to do my own shit, the same, but produced by me, selling by me, and everything. So and I started to do better,
Yeah.
because there was no employees to pay, blah blah blah. And I also decided to kind of quit my dream on become millionaire or super wealthy.
Wealthy.
I was okay. I'm living in the U.S. I'm really calm. My life is good. I'm not making a lot of money, but I'm not making short money.
Yeah.
So I decided to quit to that kind of dream.
Okay.
And then there was from 16 to 18, and I did the same thing in first in Vail. I stayed 1 year in Vail, doing a lot of weddings, a lot of videos like that.
Yep.
And then I started to have a lot of clients here in Denver, and then the pandemic came out. So I remember the first month of the pandemic, I didn't sell anything because you weren't able to go out to sell.
You couldn't go out to sell. Videos didn't really, I mean, unless you're making them in your house, you couldn't even, didn't really matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But me as a freelancer, my key point was going to clients to sell them videos and stuff.
Yep.
So I remember that the first month I was with no money. I was like a struggle, and I was what I'm gonna do. And then the second month, one of the business that I used to had like a year before that, she came to me. Is a non-profit organization that she asked me, "Hey, I got this grant from the government that this money is for helping Latin people, Latin businesses with their marketing. So I want to hire you to make one video for 15 restaurants and Latin businesses.
Wow.
For each one, we are gonna pay you like less than the amount of money that we should pay you, maybe $300 for each video. But you are able to tell them or sell them anything of your services
Wow.
to 50 clients. So from one month to another one, I have no clients, then I have 50 clients.
Wow.
And I could offer them like services around 700, 1,000, 2,000,
Yeah.
50 clients.
Wow.
So from one day to another, one month to another one, I got a lot of clients, a lot of money. And I used to live in like renting a bedroom, stuff like that, all those days. So as soon as I got this money, I was like, okay, the first thing that I want to do is to live by myself on an apartment.
Yeah.
I started to look for apartments, and the best apartment that I saw was in the towers. Do you have been there? So it's in Cherry Creek. It's the most cool and glamorous spots in Denver. So I
Is that where I met you?
and,
That
and, I,
pl-
and I did that because I was like, okay, I'm gonna live by myself. I want to live in a cool place, but not just for me. I want to live in a good place to start making parties, to meet important people. Some of my friends told me, hey, no, why are you paying this much of rent? You can buy a house or whatever. But if I got a house in Thornton, I'm not gonna be able to do this kind of stuff. And I'm gonna, my main focus on that at that time was, okay, I need to expand my circle. So I decided to live here in this pretty cool apartment complex, and I started to do parties and that stuff, and that's where I met you.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, the way you network is exactly what he just explained. I mean, from elevating the circle to, figuring out what didn't work and how to scale, what he needed to do differently, putting yourself around the right people to give the right opportunity a chance when it presents itself. How hard was it doing all those videos for 50 different clients?
I started to hire again people in Mexico, but not partnering with anyone.
Okay.
Just having employees,
There you go.
managing that. My day was super short. I used to wake up at 5 in the morning and sleep at 11.
Wow.
Really crazy time because there was a lot of things to produce. But it started to went well. And it was in the pandemic where other people was struggling with money, with projects, with that. I was in the opposite side, you know.
You were on the opposite side. You were building traction and building steam.
And I figured that, okay, I need to build up more relationships.
Yep.
I used to have a lot of clients from the towers because it's a cool spot. You start to meet up new people.
There's business owners, executives, higher end people that live in the area that you were living in, essentially. Yeah.
No, and it's a key point when I met you because I made this party, one of a lot of parties, and Ro brought you to my party.
Yep.
What did he told you that time?
He was like, hey, we're going to go over to this party over in Cherry Creek. And I was like, all right, man, let's go. And the first time I got to meet him, I go up and there's a ton of girls. And there's like a Mexican barbecue with like tacos and stuff like that. For those of you who don't know, I'm half Mexican, so that literally hit for me. I was like, oh, nice. You know, we got like corn tortillas, you know, some carne right there too, and then some salsa. That I was like, man, this is the best. But what was cool is I actually got to meet David that day. I met him at the top of this tower where there was a huge, nice pool. He had a whole section off to himself where they were grilling and having a party and, you know, a bunch of friends. I think it was for his birthday. Mm-hmm. And so he and I started talking and he started showing me clips of some of the videos that he was producing for some of his clients. And I was like, wow, this is incredible stuff. And I heard that he was really talented through Ro, who was a friend of ours, kind of the mutual friend. And then, you know, as we got to get to know each other a little bit more, I then had a party. I want to say, you know, maybe a month and a half, 2 months later, and he came by and created a little video. And I was like, man, this guy is super, super talented. And at the time, I knew based on where my companies were and the direction that we wanted to go, that we needed to have a better social presence online. We needed to have better marketing content online. We needed to have kind of a revamp and a refresh for who NPP was. There were some other things that I wanted to get going, spot on site along the way, that I knew we needed a better marketing and content team than what we had. So, yeah.
No, I remember the first video that I did for you was just you sending me some gym videos of you.
Oh, yeah.
I came up with a cool one.
Yeah, you did. Yep.
And then you asked me, hey, why don't you meet up with this girl that is helping us with the content? I started to make content for you. Maybe it was like 5 months on doing like just pieces of content.
Yeah.
And I remember you. Well, I saw you and I saw the potential on you to work on your personal brand because you are an energetic person. You are a person that it's really fun and good to be around with. You are super social, and I truly believe that if you are funny in real life, you're gonna be funny on the internet. It's just a matter of putting it together and launch it. So I saw you. If you are social in real life, if you are influenceable, in like we can't put you out, and it's gonna go. It's gonna make noise, you know.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
I remember me telling you that potential, and then there was a time that I remember you told me, "Hey, why do I need to have you full time on my brands?" And I told you, "Hey, it's not."
He was like, "It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money."
No, and I told you, it's not just me. It's my employees. It's my team. If we can set everything or set something similar to what I'm making to manage all this, we can definitely work for you and your brands. And that's when we started to work together.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Yeah, like 3 years ago. And it's been a really good partnership since then. Man, it's crazy how time flies. Mm-hmm. How has life transformed and shifted for you since that point? You know, when I first met him, you know, I was like, not that I didn't trust him, but, you know, he's talking to me about personal branding, this and that. And so you automatically go to look at this person's personal brand. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, he's got good videos, he's got good buzz. But you also see that you're like, all right, his vision, it goes to show like his vision and what he saw was different than what I could wrap my mind around at the time, from like one visionary to another, because I was like, man, I just don't see like how I get to this point or how we get to this point. But you fast forward some time now, and I mean, this guy has hundreds of thousands of followers, and all organic, based on exactly what he told me he was going to do a year ago. Maybe even a little bit longer than that, but it's been crazy to watch your journey just kind of like continue to grow and grow and grow. And let's talk about that. Like, what has it done for you, and where do you see life in the future?
Definitely. No. Well, first I want to go a little back.
Sure.
To when you invited me, you and Hayden invited me to be partners on Spot on Site, because that was also a key point on my life, on my journey, because I was running videos for you, for National Payment Partners, blah blah blah. And I remember one day you and Hayden telling me about this new app that you were trying to set it up. You asked me to do videos for that company. You asked me for the logo
Yeah.
and the branding.
Yeah. I was like, hey, we've got this company. Yeah.
So I designed the logo. You liked it. And then when I was starting to work on the videos for Spot on Site, I saw the website that you have developed with another company. And I came up and I was like, I don't understand what does this app do? And even from the website, I don't get it. So I started to asking questions. What does it do? Blah, blah, blah. So I decided, no, if I do videos, it's going to work. But as soon as the client watch the video and go to the website, we are going to lose that sale, because the website is not communicating what the app do. So I remember one weekend I had free time, so I decided to design a full new website with my ideas, with my experience, and I presented to you and Hayden. Hey guys, I made this new website design. I'm not charging extra for this. It's just something that I want you guys to see. And 2 hours later, Hayden called me and he told me, hey, I talked to SAG and we want to partner with you. You don't need to do anything, just because we saw the interest on you, and you are seeing stuff that we are not. And he told me that, and I was super excited to partner you, because I was just working for you, but now partnering with
On a business, yeah.
Special for me.
It's special for us too, man. Yeah.
So that was a key point. And then after, remember that I had a lot of clients, and then I start to just focusing on your brands. I started to have more free time, and that free time, at that time I used to party a lot, be with girls. We love that kind of lifestyle. So
Yep.
so I was doing that, but then it was last June of last year. I invited one friend of mine, Gerardo. He's a videographer. He does videos.
Yeah.
Same as me. But I saw on Instagram all the content that Jake Trades, I guess is the name of this influencer. He lives here in Denver. He do content about trading. And he was putting out content on, hey, I got this new mansion in Thornton. I got this new Lamborghini. And I was like, he's faking it. I don't think he's doing it. What does he do? And his speech was, hey, I used to work in Subway or a restaurant like that like 3 years ago, and now I have a Lambo. And I was like, I'm not sure. I want to figure it out,
Yeah.
What is he doing? So I called Gerardo, because he do videos for him.
Okay.
I invited him to my house. I invited him. Hey, I'm going to have a grill, a little party. Come and join me. He started to talk me about that project, and I asked him, okay, tell me specifically how does Jake do his money? Does he do his money on trading? And he told me he's doing some money on trading, but the most money that he's doing is from the membership that he offers.
Gotcha.
Because it's a membership, you pay, I guess at the time it was like 150 a month. And you access to a Discord where he and his team sends information on where are they gonna trade. Hey, today, this morning we are gonna put some money on Apple stocks, and because on Thursday they are gonna launch the new headphones, so the stocks are gonna raise, they are gonna increase or whatever. So those advices you have access to it by paying that membership. And I told him how many money is he doing from that. Okay, he's selling a membership on 150, and he has right now like I guess he mentioned like 3,500
Clients.
clients.
Wow.
So he was making a little less than $500,000 a month.
Wow.
So when I saw that number on my hand on the calculator, I was like, okay, I need to move forward to it,
Yeah.
because that's where we want to be.
Yeah.
So that was on June from last year. So I started on my free time. Okay, what should I do? What kind of content should I go? I have been trying to do this kind of influencer thing in the past, but just for 3 months, 4 months, and I quit. So I was okay. What should I do? Maybe motivational stuff, and that was from June to December. And on December, I finally decided, okay, I'm gonna move forward to Latin people, because if you are gonna create a community, you are going to be the leader of that community, but you need to have results to be a leader. To be something to follow, to be followed. I cannot make videos about cooking because I don't know how to cook. No one is going to follow me.
Right.
So I was thinking, okay, I'm going to create content on the things that I already did.
That you knew. Stuff that you already knew.
And I'm success on. And one of my kind of big success in my journey in the US is that I have never worked in construction or restaurants, not even one day in my life. And those are the jobs that all the Latins do. And that's something that I can say, hey, I have never worked on those industries.
Sure.
You can do also a life from that. Like, you can quit to your job in the construction if you don't like it, and you can make content or whatever. So that's where I started to go, and I started to create a whole strategy on a lot of stuff, a lot of even psychology stuff that I have learned in the past. I just condensed it and put it together, and I started to put videos every day, 2 videos a day. On January 3rd on this year, I started with 3,000 followers, and after 10 months, I have 200,000 followers.
Wow.
It went really viral.
It went really, really viral. I remember calling him one day, and I was like, calling him, no answer. And I was like, hey, he finally called me back, and he's like, sorry, I was at a soccer game. I was like, dude, that last post that you just put up, I was like, there's a ton of likes. And he's like, really? And I was like, yeah, like a ton. He's like, it's probably going to go viral. And I was like, yeah, I bet it does. And so that was maybe like an hour after he had posted it, like right before he went into the soccer game. And then he and I talked the following morning. There was like 15,000 likes on it or something. And I was like, bro, this is crazy. And it just kept growing and growing and growing, and like thousands of more followers, like almost like every hour for you. Yeah.
It was, the growth on that video was crazy. The first day, it reached like 1.5 million views.
That is crazy.
And the video right now has 20 million views. I mean, almost all Latin people in the US have seen that video.
That's awesome. You're famous, bro. You're famous. And so what happened from that? What are some of the things that happened on that video
That video is from, I find out that there's an app that you can use when you go to the movies. And the movies here in the US, almost every time they screen the movie in English. So if you put your headphones with this app, you can watch the movie in Spanish. So I decided to create. I mean, I thought this is cool. This is a cool app that is going to be useful for Latin people to share. So I created that video with kind of tricky things on that video. For example, the video starts saying, "Here in the U.S., it's super normal to go to the movies with headphones."
And it's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
But that start
That headline.
that headline stops the attention.
Wow.
You know.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff on my videos. For example, I played around on the subtitles, and the subtitles that are in yellow. Yellow is a color that our human brain catches first than other colors. So I decided to do all my subtitles on yellow, and it worked. There's a lot of details that I started to play around with, but it was an obsessed work of to do that, you know. All this year, all my I decided to not to go party. I decided to not to go with girls, to not travel a lot like the last years, and put all my time, free time on that project. I remember on Sundays I used to sleep at 1 a.m. in the morning, studying and reading and producing those videos and stuff like that. And I remember telling you, "Hey, bro, look! Now I have 15,000 followers. Now 20." It starts to
Crazy.
grow, you know?
It's a real thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was pretty fun, and it's been such a good experience. I started to have other influencers, big influencers, contact with me, getting in touch. So it's pretty cool, you know?
Yeah, yeah. You know, and for some of you who are not into social media and all the aspect that it brings, you know, I know there's a lot of negative that can come around what social media is and does and brings to people, and there can be. But at the same time, this guy at a very early age was like, look, following is like a new type of currency, and it really is, in terms of the potential and pull and influence that you have over mass audiences at a time. You talk about the gentleman that you were talking about who does the trading, who has all of those subscribers at, you know, a small dollar value, adds up to a lot over time. And so, I mean, it's crazy that you've been able to like build that on your own without help. I mean, you know, it's been really cool to see.
Thank you. No, and it's it's been a crazy year for me on that side, because my dream when I was a teenager, when I was a kid, my dream was to be a soccer player. Okay?
Yeah.
When I was 18, I figured that I wasn't able to do that. So my new dream from 18 to now was to become an influencer, a big influencer. So being able to reach that dream, it was like crazy. I
That's
remember
crazy.
calling my mom like, "I made it. Look, like my dream from 10 years, it's finally here."
Yeah.
You know? And it's been pretty cool. And my focus now is on how to monetize that audience, because that's the hard thing to do. It's to build the audience, big audiences, you know, and because it's kind of a science, but it's a new science that there's no books to learn on how to build up viral audiences.
Right.
There's nothing, there's no even, and that's something that I always told you. Hey, I need to figure this out, because my mind is okay. There's people that can buy a Lamborghini or a car that it's $1 million, and they have the money and they buy those cars because they can. And those people also wants to be famous, but there's no a service that offers, okay, give me 1 million and I'll become you famous.
I'll make you famous.
I'll make you famous.
Yeah.
And if we can figure a system on becoming famous people, we can charge whatever we want. You know?
You can. You absolutely can. I mean, there's people that'll pay whatever because they want the fame.
And they have it.
Yeah.
And it's not hard to pay that amount of money.
Exactly.
So that was kind of my vision.
Yeah. What I like about what you're doing right now is like the audience that you're focusing on is the same type of person you are. Mm-hmm. You came from Mexico with, a hope and a dream. And a lot of these people have come here the same type of hope or dream, with the American dream in mind. We were just looking at his audience and I was like, well, how much of your audience based on this demographic is from Mexico or outside or within the United States? And over half of them are in the United States. So it's people who are like you that are currently here. And then probably the balance of them, over 50% that is in the United States, the balance of them are outside. And so like in Latin areas. And so they're getting your message and you've got a good, powerful message, and like, I think that aside from just being able to make a lot of money and everything else, it's being able to help people along the way. And that's one of the things that I really respect about you is that you're helping people with the trials and tribulations that you've been through, and you've been able to kind of make it relatable for these guys. So that's really cool. That's really cool.
Whenever I start to plan what videos I'm going to produce or create, I always think on the emotions that I used to had when I just arrived here. I mean, when you arrive to another country and you're an immigrant and everything is against you, you want to go back to your country. You miss your family. You don't know where to get a new job. Those kind of emotions. I made a list of those emotions and I do a video for each emotion.
Wow.
And that's how it's relatable to them.
Yep.
You pick an audience, you select the emotions that the audience have, and you create content for those emotions.
Yeah. I think it's so crazy. So you think back, like talking about somebody whose dad is a pastor, comes from a religious background. Mexican culture is very tight knit and it's like very dialed in and focused, especially if you're coming from like a religious family, I would say. You got a child who was homeschooled, who people would probably say that's not going to help him, that's going to actually hurt him, to somebody who wants to be in front of mass audiences. So polar opposite of what like typical statistics and like hearsay people would tell you, left Mexico, came to America, works pretty much for yourself. We are partners, but you're doing what you love on your own accord. And you're building a huge following along the way. So that's awesome, man. I'm happy to be a part of any part of that story.
No, thank you. And you're
of course, man.
Definitely a key point, not only on the business side, bro. You know that I admire you and I respect you, and I always come with crazy questions of everything, that I admire from you. I've never been afraid to ask you. And
yeah.
I have always had an advice from you and knowledge, and I really, really appreciate that.
Likewise, man. I mean, I learn a lot from you too. So very curious man right here, always looking stuff up, always figuring it out, not depending on others to just give answers. He's, seeking answers actively. I mean, those are all things that if you think about like what top performers are doing, what they need to be successful, these are the things. It's obsession. He mentioned it himself. I've said it in the past, like you have to be obsessed with what you want to do. He mentioned it a few different times. Like I stood up till 1:00 in the morning, obsessed with trying to figure out what are the videos I need to say, what are the subtitles I have to have, what color is going to reach these guys in their mind. And, that's the one thing that I think like we can all grab and gravitate toward is like there is going to be an unhealthy amount of obsession somewhere along the way, but that's part of like what it takes to disrupt different industries.
Oh, and I'm happy to share my story here. Whoever listens to this podcast, because just take that perspective on being obsessed with whatever you want, and be willing to do the sacrifices that it takes to reach those goals.
I love it.
Because if you don't sacrifice time, relationships, fun, a lot of stuff, you're not going to be from point A to point B, you know?
Amen.
So,
Yep.
yeah. That's,
Yep. How do people reach out to you? How can you be?
Yeah, sure.
How can
My
they find
Instagram
you?
is David Lujan MX on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram.
So DavidLujanMX.
It's in Spanish. Sorry, guys, for
Instagram,
What's
everything.
it
Yeah,
done?
yeah. Check him out. Check him out. He's got great content. Really, really talented person and just incredibly driven. So thanks, man. Appreciate
buddy.
it.
Thank you
All right,
for your
guys.
time, and
Yep.
See you next time.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks.